In today's Leeds news, Jack Harrison future update, Leeds managerial latest, Tyler Roberts medical completed, and Parag Marathe'S cultural reboot. Hey folks, Jer here on Tuesday morning, the 20th of June with your Leeds United news. Hope you're all having a good week so far. There's not massive amount of detail going around as we all sit and wait with bated breaths for hopefully an imminent announcement of a new Leeds United head coach. I will say this all week in these videos. It may have already happened by the time you watch this video. So these videos are recorded pretty early in the morning. So we'll have to wait and see, but we'll start off. There's some stuff around Pragmatic's cultural reboot, which we'll cover in the second half of the video, which might explain some of the quietness and delay in appointments. It's an interesting read. We'll get to that in the second half. Ben Cross done a great job on that. But we'll start off with the rumoured exits from Leeds United. We'll start off with Jack Harrison. And according to the Yorkshire Evening Post and Sports Router, Jack Harrison has multiple Premier League interests as we head into the opening of the European transfer window, but the already opened UK transfer window. According to reports, Everton are one of 4 Premier League clubs who are interested in signing Jack Harrison. That's already been reported. However, this report goes on to say there are 2 Champions League level clubs who are very interested in signing Harrison. It doesn't name them, but it does go on to say that one of those clubs is in mainland Europe and outside of the Premier League. Harrison has what's rumoured to be a £16 million release clause in his contract that was negotiated when he signed his new deal. What I'll say about that is I wouldn't put a huge amount of stock in that being true. Some of the release clauses that have been released by places like Sports Router and have come out over the last couple of weeks have been proven to be false. Graham Smith did a bit of work on finding out if the Robin Koch free clause was a real thing or not. Turns out, no, it's not real. So Leeds will be getting a fee for Robin Koch of some sort, and it will look the same with Jack Harrison. 16 million seems way too low. We said it yesterday. 40 million was the fee Leeds were looking for last summer for him, and 60 million would be way too low. However, Leeds could do with an auction happening here. If Jack Harrison is to leave, Leeds could do with 3 or 4 clubs going up against each other and trying to outbid each other for Jack Harrison's services, which would then leave Leeds to make more money, which would be a perfect scenario if he's going to go. The perfect scenario is he stays, but if he was to go. Let's move on. Let's get into the managerial situation. It's been pretty quiet, as we all know. And as Kate from Leeds Bird Rant put it today, in the absence of information from Leeds, the void is being filled by others who pretty much don't know what they're talking about. So probably people like me and us. But we'll talk a little bit about this. And according to Sky Sports, Patrick Vieira is now one of the leading candidates for the new Leeds United head coach. They expect Vieira to speak to Leeds this week. We've already heard from Tim Thornton at Sky Sports, who said that Leeds would conduct interviews this week, and that seems to be what's going on. Phil Hayes also backed up that, saying that they're expected white smoke from Leeds this week around a head coach. They say that Vieira is one of several names that Leeds will want to speak to this week, and they've also name-checked Daniel Farke and Carlos Corberán as well, are also expected to meet. However, they do say that as of this point, Leeds United have not approached West Brom to speak to Carlos Corberán and have not approached Carlos Corberán either. Corberán has a £2 million buyout in his contract. What they say is that Vieira is a manager that's out of work at the moment, and they claim that Leeds are looking for a manager who has Premier League experience and who's currently out of work. And that's the reason why they're saying Carlos Corberán won't be on the Football League World are backing this up by saying that Leeds have ruled out Corberán as a change of plan has happened. Sources close to them say the 49ers are looking for a manager with Premier League experience and currently out of work. They've also said that Darren Moore is also now listed as one of the options for Leeds United. Moore, who finished up on mutual agreement with Sheffield Wednesday yesterday and has an interesting track record. Darren Moore has a 47% win ratio with his first club at West Brom, which is a good percentage. He won 23 of his 48 games there, only losing 12 matches. When he went to Doncaster, it was a 44% win ratio with 35 wins from 78 games. And now at Sheffield Wednesday, he had a 51% win ratio with 66 of his 129 games in charge turning out to be a win. So Darren Moore is also being linked with that move as well. But again, no Premier League experience. If the 49ers are going down that route, which when we get to the Parag Marathe'S stuff in a minute, maybe they're not going down that route. But it's again, as I said, as Kate said, in the absence of firm information, the void will be filled with any voices. And unfortunately, they're heard. let's move on away from that for a moment. We can come back to that in a second, but we'll just talk about Tyler Roberts real quick. And according to the Daily Mail, Tyler Roberts has completed his medical in Birmingham and is expected to complete his deal and move to Birmingham in the next 24 to 48 hours. There's no information coming yet whether the medical was passed or failed. With Roberts' injury history, it's always something to keep an eye on. And the fee is expected to be somewhere in the region of £500,000 to £750,000 for the player. Let's move on and talk a little bit about Parag Marathe'S cultural reboot. This is a piece doing the rounds in Leeds Live today, and Baron Cross has written this. It's a really, really good and interesting piece. I said on the Just Show last week, I like to find the gaps in what people are saying. So when you read all these reports about people who may go somewhere, it's the detail between the stuff is what I always look for. For example, Stuart Webber last week, when Stuart Webber resigned from Norwich, everybody was saying, because Leeds were mentioned, Webber's coming to Leeds, and he may well be. However, if you listen to the interview on Sky Sports, they also said that there was other options in Spain for the director of football as well, and that he may be even taking a break from football. So when you read between the lines, there's also options there as well. And given what's going on with Leeds in the managerial situation at the moment, this piece here is actually very interesting. I'll give you the clip notes on it. I won't read it too much because it's Baron's work, and you should go check this out because I can be pretty I won't say critical of Leeds Lives. They don't get everything right, but this is a really good opinion piece in Baron Cross, and I would check it out if you've got time. So what they've done is they basically lined out that Marathi has what he calls this cultural reboot strategy that he used when they took over at the 49ers as well. Cross's piece lines out that before tactics and philosophy, Marathi looks for values and leadership skills. They're the most important ones to him. Marathi was said to have provided a dossier to Andrea Radrizzani when they were trying to replace Heckingbottom as Leeds United manager with Marcelo Bielsa. And he said that the dossier basically lines out what kind of head coach is needed by the club in the situation that you're in. What values does he have? The research covers other sports as well. They look into the values and leadership skills that you would get in football, baseball, basketball, hockey is mentioned as well as the All Blacks setup in New Zealand as well, which is an incredibly professionally run setup and high achieving setup as well. He said they look for common trends, they look for leadership, they look for somebody who can reboot and change teams' fortunes, and then resetting cultures as well and creating something new, which is also interesting. It goes on to say that Marathi explains that he and Jed York spent 31 days interviewing 23 different candidates for the general manager and head coaching roles at the 49ers. They said that they actually stayed true to their process because they believe in their process. And they took some flack as it was taking some time. When other franchises were hiring coaches, they weren't. They were sticking to their process and favoring patience over panic. And they said that their patience paid off in the end, and they got what they believed to be a winning formula, and it worked out for them. Super Bowl final last year as well for them. Didn't win it, but got to the Super Bowl final and are widely seen as one of the most successful franchises currently in American football. So if you read through this and you go back through the other articles that are in this that I've read today, if it's a case that they decided to go for a Premier League manager, Premier League experience, then what they have in their dossier doesn't hold ground and doesn't make sense. They're looking for somebody who can reboot and change the team's fortune. So if Carlos Corban is out of the mix because he has a buyout clause or because he doesn't have Premier League experience, he does have experience of rebooting and changing teams' fortunes, which he's done twice now, 2 different clubs. So that would stand to him as well. Leadership skills are called out. A couple of interviews this week with a couple of the American players that played for him at West Brom, and they've spoken very highly about his leadership skills and resetting a culture. He's done that at West Brom. So you look at that. Farke, you could say the same thing as well with Daniel Farke. When he went into Norwich, he did change their style of play, did reboot their culture. That would hold ground as well. Patrick Vieira, less so, took over Crystal Palace, had a very good season. Last season was a poor season. Second half of the season, they were dropping like a rock, and until they replaced him, they were one of my favourites to get relegated. I actually thought they'd drop below us at one point, given how far they were falling and how quickly there were no wins in 2023 for Patrick Vieira at all, which led to him being sacked and replaced by Roy Hodgson, who did a much better job in the role than Vieira did. You go through the rest of the candidates. Scott Parker, does he have a culture at all? Probably not. Raul has been mentioned as well. Darren Moore has changed the cultures at clubs as well, but no managerial experience. So it depends on which we're reading into here, which is true and which isn't. So it's a very, very interesting piece. If you want to kind of formulate your own educated opinions on who Leeds are going to go for, if this is the blueprint, if this is this dossier is what they work off of, go and have a read of it. It's on Leeds Live. Brian Cross's piece is really, really good. Folks, that's going to be it for me for this morning so far. Anyway, if anything happens of any kind of dramatic appointments over the next couple of hours, we'll jump on tonight and do a live stream, and we'll do that at some point during the week, and we'll have our live stream on Friday evening as well to do our chats. So that's going to be it for me today, folks. So massive thanks to everyone who supports and watches the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Have a great day. Bye.